Good evening, folks. Welcome along to your Rangers Rabble Women show on a Monday evening. Brian here tonight, and I am joined by Wolf. Wolf, how are we?
Absolutely wonderful, Brian. It's been a tremendous weekend. What is it they say? If Carlsberg could do Sundays, yesterday would be a Carlsberg Sunday. So yeah, absolutely, still buzzing. Witnessed the 11 Rangers goals live yesterday. I was lucky enough to be at both games. Witnessed the 11 goals live. Unfortunately, the opposition got 2 in one of the games, but it didn't really count for much. Yeah, just always great to be here. Demi's out on the razzle celebrating some Welsh guy that the Irish seem quite fond of, so that's why I've just decided I better come back on tonight.
Good stuff. Alan, how are we?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Enjoying some time off work, and it was a very productive day yesterday. A very enjoyable day to be a Rangers fan.
Absolutely. And Cara, I take it you're going to make a full house of that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we normally moan that Rangers ruin our weekend, so whatever the complete opposite of that is, they just absolutely made it top to bottom yesterday. It was just unreal the whole day, so yeah, still buzzing.
Absolutely. It's nice to see so many smiles, people happy. It's just great, because it hasn't happened very often this season, so it's nice. It's nice that it's actually happening. So yes, we are here to react to the women's result yesterday. Motherwell 0, Rangers 8. Plenty goals to speak about. Lots of good action. Lots of good goals. We'll go through the lineup first. Jennifer Ive was in goal. Nick Docherty, Cathy Hill, and Midak in the defence. Lizzie Arnott, Chelsea Cornett, Camille Lefay, Kirsty McLean, Brogan Hay, Kirsty Howitt, and Kirsty Wilkinson.
That'll be Katie Wilkinson.
It's Katie Wilkinson. Sorry, Katie Wilkinson. Sorry. How was that for a lineup for you, Car? Was that I mean, Camille Lefay obviously made a difference in the last game. It was nice to see her get a little bit of a reward and a start in this one.
Yeah, we've been calling out for it for ages for her to start, so it's nice that she finally got it. Not questionable. The backline's a bit weird when you've got Raf sitting on the bench, who's actually a defender that you could put in there instead of Tess if Leah Eddy's obviously out with some kind of injury or something that she wasn't featured at all. But other than that, I was pretty happy with it, yeah.
Alan, I mean, it's I think everybody's been saying for a while that the Chelsea, Kirsty and Liv sort of combo doesn't sort of really for some reason just doesn't fit. But Camille made such a difference in the last game. It was pretty difficult not to pick her for this one.
It would have been very difficult, and we've talked for ages wanting to see Camille in the starting lineup. She's making a lot of impact off the bench, and as you say, that trio of Liv, Chelsea and Kirsty hasn't quite clicked. Probably not had enough games together, to really gel as a trio, but I don't think we're in a position to be experimenting right now. We really need to be all out for the rest of the season, so we're very happy with that midfield setup. Obviously, I thought it was a miss having Leah out, but Tess played very well there yesterday.
And no Ria Hardywell up front, so again, a slight change in the lineup.
Well, it's unusual to see Wilco up front with Kirsty Howitt from the start, but I mean, we've got strikers who know the way to goal, so it's a squad that we'll have to manage to rotate. I mean, there's an awful lot of games coming up, and this is the first of the 10 split fixtures. Plus, we've got a cup final next week. We've got a semi-final coming up. Hopefully, a cup final to come after that. It's an awful lot of games in a short period of time, so they've got to manage the minutes. And I mean, on the Leah Eddy thing, disappointing that Leah wasn't there yesterday. As Carl says, it's possibly just a little injury. I don't know if we've got any word on what that actually is. But if you're going to have to rejig your defence and go without the likes of Leah, with the best will in the world, Motherwell's the team to do it against.
Absolutely. As the title says, a winning start to the post-fixtures, Car. An emphatic win and a good start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody predicted 8-0. I think I said 2 and went very conservative. I think everyone else went round about that. So I don't think anybody could have predicted that. But, quick start. And usually when we start quite quickly and play with intensity like we did, we usually score quite a few. So can't be too mad about that.
No. My excuse is I'm quite comfy in what I'm wearing today. So that's me. Apologies. So I'm quite happy with what I'm wearing today. So It's keeping me warm, nice and warm, so it's fine. And
Right, as long as we're all a smile for a change, that's all that really matters.
correct. As I said at the start, we're all smiling, we're all happy, so that's all that matters. But Alan, an unusual first goal. I would assume Katie would not put a score from there, and it was a bit of a blunder from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper's probably been expecting the cross. I do genuinely think that Katie Wilkinson was trying to shoot. I don't think Katie needs any encouragement to shoot from any angle, but good ball into her from Chelsea, and she's just, it's instinct, she just took a shot, probably a bad angle to shoot from, but keeper's just been a wee bit off her line, expecting the ball to come across and just waved at the crowd a wee bit. And early goal gave us a really good start. We obviously talked about we're not playing as well as we'd like to see us playing, so an early goal was always going to be welcome. And unlike last time when Katie scored early at K Park, we actually went and added to it.
Absolutely. And poor Katie Alan was stuck in the net after. There's a bit of netting behind the touchline, and she got herself tangled up in that. Thankfully, it wasn't for too long, though.
No. It wasn't too long, so got back in, and I think it was maybe 20 minutes we waited for that second goal. But
yeah,
I think we'll go on and talk a lot about Camille. But seeing her get that goal was massive.
absolutely. And Wilf is, as Alan's just saying, it was Lizzie Arnott down the left, cutting in, bursting into the box, and Camille was just in a nice little position in the 6-yard line, and it was a nice left-footed finish.
Yeah, whoever knew that Camille Lefebvre was a goal machine? I mean, she's just. And tremendous finish as well. And obviously she very quickly finished. We'll move on to the next one because she got the third goal as well. You know what I mean? And it was two tremendous finishes. The second goal that she got, the third goal which came shortly after, was a great ball up from Kathy again. Not just a punt. You sometimes think centre half just punts the ball. She actually played it into the space and Cammy ran onto it, and a superb finish. She was unlucky not to end the game with a match ball. You know what I mean? She even turned down the penalty at the end, but we'll get to that. But yeah, tremendous player. As Carl said at the start, we've all been saying that she deserves a starting place in the team, and she got it. She took it with both hands, so she's nailed on for a start in the final on Saturday.
Yes, you would certainly think so. And no more than 5-6 minutes later, Carr, she was at it again. Long ball from Kathy Hill. Eventually got it under control and slotted it in the sort of bottom right corner.
Yeah, we try this sometimes and it doesn't work. They play it too far in front of the player. It doesn't land where it's supposed to, but as well said, perfectly placed. All she needs to do is just kind of hit it and it goes underneath the goalkeeper. She's got it in her locker. She dances through midfields and defences. This is what Camille does and scores goals. So, as well said, I hope that she is nailed on starter for Saturday because that's what she offers you. And, she never goes hiding. If she's maybe not getting the start, she'll come on and do the exact same thing. So fantastic. Both goals from her. It's absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. And as you said, Rolf, that was her second goal. So she was hunting a third, but unfortunately it didn't come. But again, not long after Alan, Kirsty Howitt in the goals. A good run from Lizzie. I think she kind of how could you put it? Just sort of flicked it over the defender into Kirsty's path and unleashed a shot into the net.
Yeah, it all started from Jenna being quite commanding in the box. She's came out quickly and launched the ball up the park. The balls took a bounce over a defence. Liz just took a couple of touches on it, lobbed over a couple of defenders into Kirsty's path, and she's just absolutely smashed it past the keeper. But even Camille's second goal, was a great example of how to make the most of somebody playing behind the strikers. Two strikers that took the defenders wide, leaving Camille all the space in the world to run through the middle. We've got to take advantage of pulling teams open like that, particularly teams that will fight and try and stay in a low block. That's exactly what we need to be seeing more of. And the directness for Jenna for that fourth goal that Kirsty ended up getting was important. Too often we're complaining about messing about too much at the back, taking too long to go and counter-attack, and that was a perfect example of doing it really well.
Absolutely. So 4-0 at half time. Wolf, was that a fair reflection of the first half?
Oh, we deserved to be at least 4 up. I mean, there wasn't a lot of saves, either side that I can recall. But I mean, Motherwell had a couple of chances, just sort of half chances over the bar, stuff like that. But yeah, they weren't. Motherwell were really what you'd expect them to be. I mean, on the subject of Motherwell, I mean, Mason Clark showed yesterday just what Mason Clark. I said at the end, Mason Clark didn't deserve to win the end of an 8-0 defeat. I'm still flabbergasted we let her go permanently. Absolutely flabbergasted. Hopefully we do see her back at some point. But it's encouraging if we're letting the likes of Mason Clark leave on a permanent deal, then there must be thoughts that there's better than her coming through the academy. And if there's better than her coming through the academy, the future is very, very bright, because she was Motherwell's best player by a country mile yesterday. And she was trying to make things happen even when they were 4, 5, 6 down. She was still trying to make things happen. And try to encourage her team on. And I just thought it was a tremendous performance from her. But I mean, yeah, Motherwell generally, well, what you'd expect Motherwell to be. They didn't completely chuck it when we were out of sight of 4 up at half time, but it was always back to the wall stuff for them. And to be honest, we didn't let them play. It was a very, very professional performance.
Good stuff. And the Wilco's first car, I mean, when I first watched it, I thought it was an own goal. I couldn't see how she got to it. It was good build up in the box, and then a shot came in from the right hand side. And as I say, I thought it was an own goal because it didn't. But then when you see the replay, the sort of slow motion, she does stick her foot out and get a touch. So it was a good instinct there.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been Tessa's goal had it not been Wilco that got her foot on the end of it. But tremendous play from everyone that was involved in it on the box. Tess puts the shot in. Wilco's there just to kind of guide it into the back of the net. But before that, we actually made subs at half time, which was not done in a long time, which was very nice to see, the fact that we were finally making subs at half time.
Absolutely. I mean, that's, again, Cara, that's something we've spoke about, before, not changing things at the right times. So again, is this something the manager's maybe taking note of, that she's, there's times that she's been getting a little bit of criticism for not changing things quicker?
Possibly, or she's looking at Saturday and thinking, who can I take off here, get minutes in other people's legs and keep, Brogan and Chelsea fresh for Saturday, I suppose is probably more where she's coming from. But whatever makes it happen, it didn't change the game all that much, but it brought a lot of energy on with Liv in that midfield.
Absolutely.
Ryan, what Carl's desperate for you to say is that the substitutes at half time included Laura Berry. That's what Carl's desperate for you to come out with.
Yes.
Who, by the way, was a contributor who contributed greatly to goal number 5, as you touched on Wilco knocking in Tess's, because she absolutely fresh-aired it on a 6-yard line. Carl was trying to overlook, but I had to get that in. To be fair, it turned out it was a good kind of almost assist, but I don't know what she was thinking. She just swung her leg at it, and it's one of those things that happens, I guess. But you know what I mean.
Absolutely. And then Alan, not long after, Kirsty Hewitt back in the goal. I thought she was going to hit the bar in the sort of replay, but it just went over the top of the goalkeeper. Another good finish.
Yeah, how was it? Both chased the ball in corner of the box, and Kirsty spun on it, turned the defender, and absolutely fired it past the keeper. I thought at the game, it'd been a bit closer to the corner, but it's straight over the keeper. Absolutely brilliant finish, and that's Kirsty on, I think, 19 goals for a season. And given that she's not often playing as an out-and-out striker, and most of the season is played in behind, I think that's a brilliant return from Kirsty so far. So I think she'll be pretty pleased with that.
Absolutely. And then Kirsty turned assist this time, Wolf. Good cross in from Lizzie Arnott. Controlled very well in the box, and Kirsty spots Katie in the box, and Katie had the simplest of jobs after that. Yeah,
we were just. I had look. This wasn't long after I said, I wonder who's going to take the penalty if we get one. Not knowing we were going to get one, but obviously there was 3 of them on a brace. As soon as Katie scored, Alan said, "Well, that sorts out who's getting substituted." Because and he's right, because once she's got the 3, she was always going to get taken off with the cup final in mind. But I think it's worth pointing out as well that although she didn't score yesterday, yet again, Lizzie Arnott's assist numbers are going through the roof. You know what I mean? I mean, she's involved in, 3 or 4 of the goals. She won the penalty. You know what I mean? It's just incredible. You know what I mean? We used to complain Lizzie didn't score enough goals, but the amount of goals that she's involved in, it's off the charts. It really is.
I must admit, I haven't looked at her sort of stats assist-wise, Car, but it must be one hell of a stat that her assists. It's just incredible, isn't it?
But Lizzie can do it. She took a little bit of a dip in form the last few weeks, but so did everyone in the team basically. So nice that she was back at her best, and that's what Lizzie offers you. And give her the chance to get out wide, play the ball into the box. Half the time it ends up in the back of the net, so it's exactly what you want from your wingers. And we know that Lizzie's still got it, which is always nice to see, especially going into a cup final against Hibs. She's got previous there, so
absolutely. And there's, as Will said there, Alan, Lizzie won the penalty, fouled in the box, and Rio stepped up and tucked it. Rio Hardy stepped up and tucked it away. Still with 12 minutes left.
Yeah, listen, we felt even at 7, there was more goals in the game, and Lizzie was a danger right through the game. So maybe Lizzie has been recharging JD. Maybe he's spot on, but she's fouled in the box. The ball's long gone, and she gets brought down. So referees correctly called it back, and Rio Hardy's always going to take the penalties. Unless Katie's on a hat trick, but. Never any doubt in my mind that Rio was hitting the back of the net with that penalty, and it was good to see another striker getting a goal.
Absolutely, of course.
I don't know if you noticed, it was Demi that pointed out to me that whoever had the ball initially looked at Camille and she went, "No, it's okay, I don't want it." Because obviously she was on a hat trick and still on the park.
Tess had picked it up initially, but I didn't notice that she looked to offer it to Camille, but
Demi turned to me and said Cammy's just refused it. So, which is good because she's not a penalty taker, and it's not all about you. It's a team game. So, I mean, if she did, and I've no reason to doubt Demi, I think that's fantastic. That's fantastic from a team point of view, because Rio could have done with a goal. You know what I mean? And it's not all about Cammy. So,
no, definitely. And I think Camille's shown she's been an absolute fantastic team player. And I think had maybe Rio not been on the park, she would have quite happily taken it. But, Rio, bar 1 or 2 that Katie's taken this season, if Rio's been on the park, then she's a penalty taker. I think she's missed 1 in all the penalties she's taken for us. So I've got absolute faith if Rio Hardy steps up to take a penalty and we need a goal, then Rio Hardy's going to score.
Yeah. Absolutely. Of course, that result yesterday, and I'll just go through the other ones because there was a few interesting ones there also. Motherwell 0, Rangers 8, as we've just discussed. Hearts 3, Celtic 1. Queen's Park 0, Spartans 2. Glasgow City 0, Hibs 1. And Montrose 2, Partick 0. Wolf, obviously, I'll start with the one that's probably closest to in your households. Hearts winning 3-1. Not a great surprise.
You know something? No result in between the clubs in the top 6 is really going to be a surprise.
No.
Unless one of the top clubs takes an absolute mauling. But I mean, Hearts scoring 3 against Celtic was possibly a surprise. Hearts beating Celtic wasn't particularly a surprise. Scoring 3 maybe was. The biggest surprise for me was a text message I got from a good lady that says, great header, 1-0 the JTs, and when I realised who the header was by, then I was a little bit surprised because I didn't think that she knew how to head a ball. Trying to see who opened the scoring for Hearts.
Yes, I've just seen who it is. Yes,
right. So it was. I was very, very surprised at an Emma Brownlee header.
Yes,
because it's not something I think Emma's renowned for. And then the thing I always laugh at is when Georgia Timms scores against the Tims. I always think that's quite funny. She got 2 goals. So yeah, that was. That was. I mean, we could, but the City Hibs game, we could, as I said, when Hibs scored really, really late, it was a great result for us. But as Laura pointed out to me, it would have been better if it had been a draw, given that they're both, a draw would have put us back to the top of the league. I never really thought about it that way. My thinking is that Hibs are likely to lose more points than City. But I'm beginning to wonder whether that's a right thing or not, because Hibs seem to be on fire just now. But hopefully, we can sort them out on Saturday in the cup final, and that'll maybe result in them having a little bit of fall. So their win yesterday might do us a huge favour.
Absolutely. And Carr, 97th minute, Hibs scored him. So that'll be a sickener for City, won't it?
Well, sickener for me because I stood watching it before our game kicked off, and I'm going, it's 0-0, it's 0-0. Oh, it's gone past the 95th minute. That's it. Game's done. They get a corner in the last minute, and I don't know what Lee Gibson or Lee Alexander, what her name is now, what she's doing, but it's calamitous. But obviously for Hibs, it's a great result. They're now sitting pretty at the top of the table, but just makes things all that more nervy. I'd like it if it was, well, I mean, it's not too far away. We're only 2 points behind, so it's not miles away, but a draw would have been nicer. But these things happen sometimes in these games. It can, be a draw for so long and then someone nicks it right at the end. So you got to stay switched on right to the end.
Absolutely. Of course, the league table sits like this. Glasgow City top by... Is it
No.
No?
Hibs are 57 points.
My league table's not updated, so somebody's going to have to find...
Carl, would you like to correct them?
Hibs are at the top with 57. I need to see it because off the top of my head, I don't know who's actually...
I'll tell you just now.
We're taking 2 points behind.
Hibs are 57 in first place. We're second with 55 points. A vastly superior goal difference. Goal difference is 102 on the plus.
120.
Glasgow City are third with 54 points. Celtic are fourth on 51, and Hearts are just behind on 49 points. Motherwell obviously in the top six, but they're quite a bit behind. So it's very much as we thought it was going to be early in the season. It's a top five. I don't think any of those 5 teams are taking maximum points in the post-split fixtures. So I think there's going to be a lot of very tense and nervy games in the last 9 games. So it's certainly going to be entertaining for a neutral, but anybody who's got any hair left probably won't have quite as much by the time we get to the end of May.
Sorry, Alan, I wasn't really listening. How far behind are Celtic?
4.
Celtic are 4 points behind us and 6 points behind Hibs.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit further than that, but that's fine. That's good. That's good.
So
somebody asked me, my mate phoned me today and asked me how the league was sitting, and I said Celtic are in 4th, but I've no idea how far behind they are.
I mean, it certainly makes next week interesting, Wolf, doesn't it? The cup final. Hibs are doing well. Rangers have seemed to have found a bit of form again. So it's going to be a slightly different cup final than we've experienced in previous years, as Carr alluded to earlier.
It's going to be a lot more difficult than we expected to be when we won the respective semi-finals. Let's put it that way. I mean, we thought Hibs fine, that should be relatively straightforward on the big open pitch that is Fir Park. But I don't think it's going to be quite the. Let's put it this way: it's not. I don't think it'll be a repeat of 2 years ago when it was relatively straightforward when we beat Hibs at Tynecastle. I still expect us to beat them, but the first goal is going to be absolutely critical because we tend to struggle against Hibs. Recently, we've really. I mean, there was I don't know if anybody managed to catch Innie's interview with the Rangers website today. I'm a bit disappointed we only put it on the website because I prefer listening to these things. But she did a piece with the Rangers website today, and what I picked up from it is that to quote her exactly, we go into it as sort of underdogs because of our recent forms against Hibs. Now, if that's the way the players are thinking, that tells you just how much we struggled against Hibs. You know what I mean? It might be just a bit of mind games, and she's still quite a young player and things like that. But yeah, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a pushover. Still expect us to win it. I think it'll be it should be a really, really good game. It'll be a cracking game for Sky Sports to cover. Still not quite sure how they can show it at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon because I thought there was a 3 o'clock blackout, despite the fact there's no senior games on in the men's game. But it should be an absolute cracking game. Hopefully Joe gets the team right and we're all over the top of them. But yeah, it'll be exciting.
I mean, Carr, seeing the team from yesterday, is there anything there scope-wise to change things? I mean, obviously, I wouldn't expect Midag to play in the defence. Maybe Rio come back and up front. I mean, is that the sort of changes you're expecting?
Probably. I'd assume Jenna would stay in just because she played yesterday, so that would make sense. If Leah's fit, probably Leah, but if she's not fit, then I would prefer Raf in there. Although Tess always does a fairly decent job, so I think as much as it. But the midfield, I would keep the same. Keep Camille there, have Innie and Chelsea start, and then the wingers kind of pick themselves with Mia being out injured at the moment, so we don't have that many options. I'd maybe start Rio and Wilco up front rather than Kirsty, but most of that team could go out and beat Hibs on their day, but we've not beaten them yet this season, so it has to start on Saturday because it's a cup final. There's no way around it. You win it, so it's going to be interesting. But I assume that will be the team.
Yeah, I mean, there's one name certainly penned in. I would say Alan, Camille Fay. What an impact she's made the last couple of games. So she'd be absolutely nailed on for a starting berth next week.
You'd like to think so, because I think if the team lineup comes out and Camille's not on it sends out a negative message. It sends out that there's a lack of trust in players that are playing well. I think Camille has to start. I think, like I said, Jen has been playing lately. I don't think that Vic's coming back in after 4 weeks or so and not playing. I don't think Thelma will make a second appearance for us in the final, but trying to guess what keeper Joe's going to play has been quite a gamble this season, and even last season. Keepers changed so much, but I would probably like to see Rio starting, but I could see Kirsty and Katie starting up front again. Kirsty probably running the defence a wee bit more than Rio will, and I think maybe Leo will come in for a bit more athleticism to deal with the Hibs attack. But certainly, I think seeing Camille there will be the biggest pick-me-up for everybody going.
I mean, I'll throw this to all of you. I mean, who's the players that the Rangers fans should be watching out for in the opposition team and that could, make a difference and sort of hurt us?
No point in asking me because I only watch Rangers.
Ailey Adams, good young player that Hibs have got. It's been really, really good for them this season.
Kathleen McGovern scoring a lot of Hibs as well. Taken by William. I'll certainly give whoever's on the wing for us a lot of defending to do. So it'll be real important that when we do get a chance to go forward, we make the most of it. Kirsten McLean's right to be cautious. We've taken 1 point out of 6 against Hibs, and quite honestly, we stole that point at Meadowbank. We did not deserve to leave that game with anything and scored in injury time to get a point. So I remember at semi-finals, the players were really happy that it was Hibs who were going to face the final, because the players seem to feel like they've got a point to prove against Hibs, and I very much hope they prove that point on Saturday.
I mean, Rolf Allen's saying they're 1 point out of 6, so something's drastically got to change from when they've played them twice previous. What's the main thing for you they've got to get right on Saturday?
Basically, we need to turn up. I mean, the one with 1 point, as Alan rightly says, we stole that right at the end of Meadowbank, and then we played them just before the winter break, and they hammered us 3-0. And they absolutely hammered us. You know what I mean? So really, we haven't turned up against them this season. So we basically need to. I would say we've got better players than them. I don't think that anybody could really argue that we've got better players than them. So we just have to turn up on the day, put in the performance that we know they're capable of, and I think it will take care of itself. But Hibs are going to be up for it because they know that, that they should have taken 6 points out of 6 out of us this season. They were devastated at Meadowbank when we equalised right at the death because we didn't deserve it. Then they came out, as I say, just before the turn of the year, hammered us 3-0. So they'll be up. They'll think they've got our number. You know what I mean? So basically, we just have to turn up. And if we turn up, I think we beat them. If we don't turn up, it's not the sort of game we can coast because they're a very, very good side.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting one from your Graham Carr. Sky Sports are going to have the cameras facing the main stand, yet the fans are on the opposite side. Surely they can get that changed before Saturday. Now, I thought the whole idea of having the camera on a certain side was because obviously the fans are on the opposite. It seems strange that they're having the camera on the same side as the fans.
That makes zero sense. I didn't know that. Graham hadn't said that to me. That is the most bizarre thing. What's the point in that? You may as well just not put it on TV at that point, because it looks like nobody's there and people are already criticising the women's game as it is, that nobody wants to go, nobody cares, and now they're going to make it look empty. That's bizarre. Surely they can change that. That makes zero sense.
But that's just where the cameras are sighted at Motherwell. They're sighted in the, I don't know the name of the stand, the one that their ultras are in, the one that's opposite the main stand. That's just where the TV cameras are sighted. I don't think there's anywhere in the main stand at Motherwell they can put the cameras. There probably is on Saturday because there'll be no fans in it. But on like a normal kind of Motherwell home game, they've got nowhere in there they can put them from what I remember of Motherwell's main stand. But it's mental. It's absolutely mental that the cameras are on the same side as the supporters, because it'll just look across and all you'll see, I think I would imagine hospitality being the main stand, so there'll be a couple of pockets of people in hospitality and that'll be it. The bulk of the fans. And I mean, I saw a tweet just before we came on. They said, could this be the biggest crowd at a Women's League Cup final yet? It might be, but we'll not see it.
I'd be very surprised. The cameras are never on the side that fans are going to be at Fir Park. They're always in the main stand side. So, I don't know where there would be any logic in Sky Sports moving the cameras to the other side. Sky have been broadcasting games at Fir Park for years and never broadcast a game, from my recollection, with the cameras in the John Hunter stand. So
I thought that's where the cameras were. I thought that's where the cameras were at Motherwell. I'm sure the camera gantry's up there.
No, there might be a commentary gantry. I'm not sure, but I don't remember it being a commentary gantry. But the cameras are always main stand side, facing the John Hunter stand. Where fans are.
I stand corrected and Graham's wrong then. Sorry, apologies. I thought it was always the John Hunter.
Listen, there's every chance, Graham's seen some. He's not said that without any sort of foundation, but if the cameras are being moved to the John Hunter stand, it's absolutely bonkers. And I'd like to think common sense will prevail and it'll be where they usually are. And Sky are familiar with having them.
Very much so. I was just about to say.
Yes.
They're still available on the website?
Yep.
Yes, but you've got to get them from Motherwell. You go to the Motherwell website, you get them from there. Can't remember how much they are, but they're not dear.
£10.
I think they're a tenner. I think they're a tenner or something like that.
There we go.
There's no way. Come along. It'll be a good time.
Absolutely. Wolf, score prediction, please.
A very unconvincing squeaky bum 2-0 win at Rangers.
First scorer?
Camille.
Yeah. Carr?
I don't think we'll keep it as tight as I'd like. I think they will score, but I think it'll be 2-1. I think we will score early and then it'll go 1-1. It'll be tight and then we'll nick it. But I want to say Camille, but it probably would be Wilco.
Alan?
I think we'll go with a very tight game. I think we'll edge it. I think it might be 3-2. But I think we'll have to do it hard way. I think Gibbs will score. I think Gibbs will probably take the lead. Ellie Adams, we've already talked about, will be a real threat. And it wouldn't surprise me if we have to come from behind and really show what this team's made of to win it. But Super Cup, we've won it 2 years in a row and I expect the players to go out and win it again.
For the record, I think Gibbs will score as well, but I'll never ever say that in a prediction. Right, what's your score prediction?
I was wondering if you were going to edit your thoughts, but no, you're still going with the 2-0, are you?
No, I'll say 2-0, but it wouldn't surprise me if they scored.
Will's predictions for Rangers scores rivals Mark Lawrenson's for Liverpool in all these years as I'm actually a dead pundit.
I think I'm going to join.
I don't know whether to be insulted about that or not, to be fair.
I think I'm going to join Carr in 2-1. I think it's going to be extremely tight. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to extra time.
Oh, God, don't do that. Oh, no.
2-1 win after extra time.
Okay, and there's Graham saying that Fiona McIntyre in an interview on PLZ last week and said that that's where the cameras were going. So she should know because it's no competition.
True.
So while we're on the subject, Brian, of the of the cup final, right? We don't often give Rangers Football Club media the kudos for bringing up the women's game, but they're throwing everything at it this week. I mean, I know there's no men's game because it's international break, but the Gers guide came out earlier on, and I always have a look at it just to see. I basically have a look at it to see if there's any kind of youth games that are in my neck of the woods that I can pop along to see, because they normally go on about them. But obviously today we had the highlights from yesterday, which is fine. That interview with Innie that I touched on earlier, where she says we're getting in as underdogs, and coming out sometime tonight, I would imagine it possibly come out at 7. I just haven't noticed it, but it's out sometime tonight. Is a day in the life of Olivia McLaughlin. Another one of these little video pieces that they do. Then tomorrow there's the manager and the captain speaking to Rangers TV. I know they did a press conference today. I'm assuming they probably just did it after that. But by the way, a press conference 5 days before a cup final, I think, is a wee bit odd. I don't know how. I can't remember how close to the final they were done last year and the year before, but that seems a wee bit odd to me that it's done on the Monday for the Saturday. But anyway, then on Wednesday they're doing a thing called Goggle Brox, where they're speaking to half a dozen of the players about their experiences in the previous 2 League Cup finals. So that should be quite good. And then on Friday they've got a road to the final with Katie Wilkinson. So they're certainly throwing the stuff out there. You know what I mean? So there's no reason for Rangers supporters not to know that the women are in a cup final on Sunday. Sorry, on Saturday. You know, and as we said earlier, there's no men's game. It's a tenner a ticket. It's at Fir Park. You don't need to travel through to the east. There's none of this getting a nosebleed because you can pass Hart Hill stuff like we've had the last couple of years. You know what I mean? It's Alan can walk to the game, so he's quite happy with that because it's in Motherwell. Get along if you can. You know what I mean? If you can get along, get along. You know what I mean? It's what's better to do on a Saturday than watch Rangers wave shiny things at you? Let's be honest.
Absolutely. And this one from JD Carr, Camille's rise is brilliant for the team and also will keep Liv sharp and hungry. Now, Liv played in the last Hibs game at Tynecastle where we won the cup. Liv's been a very important player for us for a while. This is going to be a conundrum for the manager, isn't it? There's 4 vying for 3 and one's going to miss out.
Well, yeah, but that's what happens when you have such good players that she has to pick between them. And I think Camille has more than earned it. I'm not saying Liv has been bad, but yesterday she had a good game when she came on. She had a good half, like she was on the pitch. Innie as well when she came on. No, she started again. I'm talking nonsense. She had a great game, but I think it does breed competition between them because that was the sharpest that I've seen Innie in a while, and I think the same with Liv. So definitely something to do with Camille beating the way that she is and playing has kept them all hungry. I don't think I would change my lineup. I think I would keep Camille in there, but I'm not the manager.
Brian, really, from as far as looking at yesterday goes, got to keep the midfield. I mean, Carl said earlier, you have to keep that midfield. I mean, for my money, Innie was a player of the match yesterday, despite the fact that she wasn't directly. I don't think she directly assisted any of the goals from memory. Maybe one. She didn't score any of them. You know what I mean? There was Katie got a hat trick. Cammy got 2. Kirsty Howitt got 2. But for me, Innie just absolutely ran the show. So if that's because of the way the midfield was set up, then more of that, please. You know what I mean? Just if that's because Cammy's in there doing what she's doing, and the strikers are dragging people up across and leaving space, and if the way the team was set up is why Innie's playing so well, then there's absolutely no reason to change that. I don't know what Alan and Carl think. I know she was in the poll for the women's supporters group player of the match, and she lost out to Wilco, which is fair enough because Wilco got a hat trick. But I mean, I just thought she absolutely ran the show yesterday.
Alan?
Listen, I think that's the best we have seen Kirsty McLean play, but I think it's just game time and match sharpness, telling for Kirsty. I think it was a really well balanced midfield. I think when it's Kirsty, Chelsea, and Liv, they're all kind of occupying the same spaces. And it's going to need a mentality shift for Innie to go and play as a sort of 10, where it's natural for Camille to go forward like that. So I think, being in a more settled and familiar role for Kirsty McLean is showing her up much, much better. But personally, I thought Camille was deserving of the player of the match yesterday. I think it's not just that she's scoring, it's the timing of her goals. scoring the second and third, put the game to bed yesterday and allowed us to actually go and play with the sort of freedom that we've been dying to see for the last few weeks. So Camille is now on 10 goals for a season, and that's a really healthy return.
Very much so. Very much so. So that'll do us, folks. Your main pod is in 20 minutes, so get your teas or coffees recharged and get settled in, because I think it's going to be a good one at 7:30. Nothing.
Brian, just to cross over between the two, just right at the very start of the pod, Paul McGonagall, who's always good in the comments, asked if I got wet yesterday. No, I didn't, because I was in the proper end. Well, I did. I got wet yesterday morning when I had a shower before I left the house. No, I was in the proper end, so no, I didn't get wet yesterday. In fact, Love didn't come up and see us. And JD on a similar thing. He's not even on the pod, and he's got his Rabble hoodie on. That's when Martin was having a go at you for not wearing the Rabble attire. What's next? Spraying innocent people with water bottles. Well, we probably can do water bottles and food bottles on that, but you can certainly get your travel mug from Rabble Island. And there's really that Alan was talking about the size of earlier. So your Rabble merchandise is all there. I think there should be a link in the description. If it's not at this pod, there will be in the next one. Certainly. So yeah, I just thought I would. I thought Paul, that was quite funny from Paul. Did I get wet yesterday? So yeah, that was. I know it's not the women's game. But I thought that was quite funny when I found out. It was actually at the women's game when I found out about that. So there you go. That's my claim for that.
Car, just a quick one from Paul at the end there. Do you think Hibs will leave spaces for us to play the long passes?
Probably, because they come out to play, so I think they'll play kind of higher up than a lot of teams that we play against. So there will be space in behind for us to exploit at times, but they do have quick players that can get back and fill that space. So it's not going to be quite the same as Motherwell yesterday. I don't think we'll quite get away with it as much as we did yesterday. But they come out to play, which is good, and we seem to play better against teams that do that than low blocks. So it should make for an interesting affair.
Absolutely. Next Monday, 6:30, we'll be back reacting to the Cup final, which is on Saturday at 3 p.m. Tickets are still available via the Motherwell website. Get yourselves along. It's a great chance for you to take we've always said, Wolf, in the pod, that you're a young child that's not been to a game before. This is an ideal one to see them possibly win a cup.
Absolutely. I mean, not just the cup final. Obviously, that's the next one up. But I mean, any of the women's games, it's a lot more, I wouldn't say relaxed atmosphere. It's a lot less sweary, shall we say, than the men's game. I try to be a bit more sweary, although that linesman yesterday was getting a bit tight. And I think one of the Motherwell players at one point looked up, and Evan was taking photos, and he said she just looked up, and he said, I can read her mind saying, please don't shout at me. I didn't think it was that bad, but I was still on a high after the men's game. No, it's any women's game. It's reasonably priced. They're all accessible. Tickets are very, very easy to get hold of because the games unfortunately don't sell out yet. That will come in the future, hopefully. Great to take kids to. Absolutely fantastic. You're right, Brian. 100% it is. And the added bonus, if you go and watch the Rangers women, you get to meet Karen Allen and occasionally me.
And very occasionally me, yes, very occasionally. But as I say, we'll be back next Monday with reaction to the Cup final. Good luck to the.
Can I put on record now? If it goes wrong, I'm pulling a sickie next Monday.
Not allowed. But no, good luck to the women on Saturday. This will be a big game for them, not beating Hibs this season, so it'd be nice if they put that right and get a win. So 3 p.m. Saturday, get your tickets. But we'll see you next Monday at 6:30. My thanks to Wolf.
No problem. Always a pleasure, Brian.
Absolutely. Car, thank you.
Thank you. If anybody sees Alan at the game, make sure to wish him a happy birthday.
Oh, Alan, you're getting dug out here. It's your birthday, is it?
Yeah. I might have mentioned to one or two players not to waste it for me next week. So,
well, thank you for having it. Coming along.
No worries. Thanks, team, and listen. Thanks to everybody that's in the comments. Everybody jumps in and it's always active in the comments, so it doesn't go unnoticed.
Absolutely. So as I say,
Stop the bus. Stop the bus. JD needs to stop drinking whatever it is he's drinking on a Monday. In fact, whatever Paul's been drinking is even worse.
I was about to say whatever Paul's drinking is worse. Exactly.
I mean, at least if you flip JD's, you're closer.
So
Absolutely.
If you flip JD's 2 digits, at least you're a bit closer. But anyway.
But on that note, we shall see you next Monday at 6:30. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.